Men everywhere are reaching the same realization at the same time. Not through anger, not through hate, but through clarity. Something has shifted, quietly, psychologically, permanently. Men across different countries, cultures, and backgrounds are noticing the same patterns repeating again and again. Different faces, same behaviors, same outcomes. And what they're waking up to isn't hostility, it's awareness. Awareness of dating dynamics that feel unbalanced, standards that don't match reality, expectations that only seem to move in one direction. For years, men were taught that if something felt wrong, it was their fault. That discomfort meant insecurity, that boundaries meant fragility. So they stayed quieter than they should have. They overgave. They rationalized red flags until the patterns became impossible to ignore. That's when the fog lifted. Men are noticing how some standards are demanded loudly by people who refuse to live up to them themselves. Six-figure expectations without financial discipline. Loyalty demanded while keeping backup options. Emotional maturity required while emotional chaos is excused. At first, men tried to meet these standards. They thought improvement would create balance. It didn't, because these weren't partner standards. They were entitlement standards. And once men started asking, "What am I receiving in return?" the illusion broke. Then came something darker. Chaos followed by victimhood. Bad behavior followed by tears. Destruction rewritten as empowerment. Consequences reframed as oppression. Men watched relationship-ending actions turn into sympathy campaigns. Confessions framed as courage. Walking away treated as abandonment. And social media poured gasoline on it. The louder the emotion, the less accountability mattered. The more dramatic the performance, the more validation arrived. Men realized something deeply unsettling. Reality didn't matter, narrative did. That's when men stopped arguing feelings and started protecting sanity. What made it worse was attention, not intimacy, not connection. Attention, likes, DMs, follows from people with status, clout, or perceived value. Entire relationships collapsed, not because someone proved themselves, but because they appeared. Men watched years thrown away for digital fantasy. Good partners replaced by validation addiction. And when the fantasy collapsed, the regret arrived quietly. Men learned something brutal. Someone addicted to attention will always sacrifice commitment for validation. Then came emotional outsourcing. Unhappiness blamed on him. Anxiety assigned to him. Boredom framed as his failure. No matter what men did, the rules changed. Plan dates, not creative enough. Give affection, too much. Give space, too distant. Men realized they weren't partners anymore. They were emotional regulators. Exhausted, drained, silently deteriorating. Not because emotions existed, but because accountability didn't. And then reality itself started changing. Events rewritten, calm conversations reframed as intimidation, boundaries labeled control. Men found themselves defending not behavior, but facts. That's when some started documenting interactions, not to win arguments, but to confirm they weren't losing their minds. Because gaslighting erodes perception. And once men see reality being rewritten to avoid responsibility, they stop explaining, they leave. Publicly, destruction began to be celebrated. Self-destructive choices marketed as empowerment. Selling intimacy framed as independence. Chaos mistaken for freedom. Anyone who questioned it was labeled insecure or controlling. Men weren't afraid of strong women. They were avoiding unexamined behavior rewarded without consequences. Because empowerment without accountability leads to instability, and instability destroys relationships. Honesty became optional. Past behavior minimized. Truth labeled insecurity. Transparency mocked. Men realized deception wasn't always malicious. Sometimes it was avoidance. But truth waits. It resurfaces through old posts, friends, careless comments. And when it does, the damage isn't history. It's betrayal. Men weren't judging the past. They were judging dishonesty. What finally solidified everything was how male pain was treated, minimized, mocked, dismissed. Men were told to open up and punished when they did. Their suffering turned into jokes, their vulnerability into weakness. Empathy vanished the moment they needed it. And men learned a quiet lesson. Pain is acceptable as long as it's silent. That realization didn't create bitterness. It created caution. So men made a decision, not loudly, not angrily. They chose peace. They stepped away from dynamics that guaranteed suffering, from relationships that felt adversarial instead of supportive. This wasn't rejection, it was self-preservation. Men discovered something powerful. Solitude with peace beats companionship with chaos. Health improved, focus returned, life stabilized. The truth is simple. Men aren't rejecting women. They're rejecting toxicity that was normalized, protected, and celebrated. And the final message is this: men deserve relationships that add to their lives, not subtract from them. And if that can't be found, choosing yourself is not weakness, it's wisdom, because your peace matters. Your standards matter. Your life matters. The awakening isn't anger, it's clarity. And clarity changes everything.